Welcome friends, it's Ray. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have two cards for you today and one that I make on camera. Today we're using papers by Paper Rose, and this collection is called Dear Isabella, and these are 6x6 paper pattern papers. And we're going to be using this design today. These are double-sided sheets and just a beautiful collection of designs. I'm going to flip through them real quick just so that you can see the beautiful designs, and these have sentiments that you can cut out and use if you want. Oh, that side, really pretty designs, borders you can cut out. Okay, and then I am also using the die cuts with this same collection, and I've already used some of these, and these are pre-cut, and you just snip them off to get them out. So pretty. Lots of pretty florals and lots of purple butterflies and birds. Really pretty. And then I also have this, oops, camera shaking, sorry about that, 12x12 pattern paper collection called Textures that I'm going to pair with this. And I did not know this was even here until I opened the packet. Look at that. There are lots of sentiments in there too, and I will be using a couple that I've already cut off here. I'll be using those in my design today. All right, let's get started. So I put this in my splat box and used my distress picket fence. I use my distress white picket fence spray to add some white splatter, and you may be able to see the fine white detail, and it actually gave it a muted color, which I tend to like. But over here I was using my Distress Spray Stain Tarnished Brass. I wanted to just have some white specks, brass specks of color in various places. Well, I was testing it off, not on the paper, but testing it in my splat box, and it didn't come out fine. So what I did was I thought, well, let me see if ink smooshing will work in this corner. Well, that's what I did here, and no, it didn't work. So I'm going to be cutting that off anyway. But what I want to do, I still want my gold splatter, so I'm bringing in my Delicata Champagne re-inker. Just shake that up, and I'm going to just put a little bit on my palette and add a little water. And I'm going to mix that up. Let me get my splat box. That's better. Use my paintbrush. No, that's not working out. Let me move this. Let me get another paintbrush, and let me turn this around. I think that'll be better. Trying to keep it out of the wet tarnished brass, but what I'm doing is using another paintbrush to tap this. This seems to work a little better for me. And that's really faint colored. Okay, let me switch gears. Let me go over to my Altenew. This is a darker re-inker, antique gold. Let me try this color because I do want my gold to show. Okay, so there's a squirt of that. Let me mix that with water. And I'm not going to even wash my paintbrush because it was gold anyway, just lighter. Okay, that's a more rich color. Let's try this. So I do want it to show up. Otherwise, why add it, right? Okay, that's looking better. And again, I'm going to cut this down, but after, you know, it dries. And I've got to step away from my craft room anyway, so this will have ample time to dry. And I guess if you wanted to speed up the drying, you could use your heat tool if you wanted to speed that up. But I think I'll be good this time with just letting this dry on its own. Okay, this is definitely the look I'm going for. And I want it just fine specks. Now, if you want larger specks, you can use a larger paintbrush, and that will give you larger specks. But I don't want to take away from the beauty of the design, but I just want that added texture from the gold metallic ink, antique gold. Alrighty, cool. Okay, so now I'm gonna go and wash my palette and paintbrush, and just let this dry on its own. Here, take a closer look at those gold specks, which are really add to the gold design in the leaves, the brownish gold leaves. So that's going to be pretty. Okay, let's cut this down. We need this to be 4.5, and I need to cut off my faux ink smushing. Okay, so that's not going to quite cut it off. Let me just go just a hair more. All right, so that is cut off. And I like that these splatters dried very quickly, and like the way that turned out. In today's video, I'm using sketch number 8 from the Kendra card challenge number 13. And this video is a part of a hop over on Instagram. So join me over there for a chance to win an amazing prize. And if you're not familiar with the Kendra card challenge, it's a challenge where you take 6 sheets of 6x6 pattern paper and make 15 cards. Kendra provides a free downloadable template each quarter, and she provides cutting guides and a video tutorial. I will link to the details in the description bar below so that you can join us over on Facebook and learn how to play along and enter for a chance to win over $1,000 worth of prizes from our sponsors throughout the quarter. In my card today, I am going to use sketch number 8. So here I am going to cut out my sentiment to use on today's card. Kendra's card challenge sketches are designed for A2 4¼ by 5½ inch cards, but I am adapting the sketch to make a 5x7 card. Okay, so let's start assembling our cards. I've cut out my mats. My largest mat is 4 7/8 by 6 7/8, and then a green mat which is going to fit in there, and that one is 4 3/4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So just leaving about a 1/8 inch border. I wanted just that sneak peek. And then I have my other pieces that are 1.5 inches wide. I think this one is slightly bigger. Let me see. Yeah, just about 5/8 of an inch, so a little larger. Oops. So just a little wider. Okay, and I think I'm going to put my other pieces down first. So this is 4.5 by 6, but it needs to be 6.5 because I'm making a larger card, a 5 by 7 card. So what I did in my first card, which I have to put this on a panel, a card base, but what I did in the first card was I added just a 1/2 inch there. And funny story, this came from just the end pieces of my 12 by 12 paper. That's where these came from. So a really pretty good way to use those scraps. I save almost everything I can save. So alright, so now that you know where we're going with this, we're going to affix this purple piece first. And so you may have a different way to do this, but what I do is just use regular tape. It's not going to show anyway, and just affix it to the bottom, flush bottom. So that's going to extend my card that extra 1/2 inch. Okay, so it shows a little opening there. So let me just reposition. Let's take this one off. Reposition so that there is no spacing. So I'm just butting it direct to the bottom. Okay, so that's good. That's better. And we'll cut off this excess in a minute. But I'm going to do the exact same thing with my green strip, but put that above my purple. Okay, just adding a little bit of glue to the end so I know where to stop gluing on my strip. So then now I'm going to add glue all the way around. And again, I'm butting this up against the purple strip, but making sure it's flat and there is no overlap. Okay, then I'll put my acrylic block over top. While that's affixing, I want a little dimension on this one, so I'm going to add some double-sided tape, foam tape. I'm cutting off the ends that are extending to the right of my panel. Oh, I forgot to cut this down to 6.5 before I put my foam tape on it, but let me just make sure. So that's just slightly a hair larger than 6.5. So I'm going to take a little bit off of that. So I just added that release paper a little bit back so that to cover up the stickiness, and then cut that. To here, I am adding foam tape to the back of my sentiment strip and using my T ruler to line that up on my panel. Right about here, I remembered that I wanted to add my Love from Lizzie peel off strip before I added my vertical strip, and I completely forgot. So I am going to add it here, add a dab of glue to the left side, and then bring the right side over to the back and tape that for security. Next, I add my double-sided tape to the back of my panel. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this committed to our first mat. And so what I will do is just partially release my release tape and add a little tacky glue to those exposed areas so that when I place this on my my green mat, let's see, I think I want the dark color green over here. When I place this on my green mat, I have a little wiggle room to get it lined up just so. I think that's pretty good. So now I want to commit, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the release paper from my tape. Looks like my top tape has repositioned itself. So I am going to use my tweezers to grab that and remove that release paper. And looks like same for the bottom tape. Okay, beautiful. I'm going to go through and do the same for each of my mats and then place them on my card base. Okay, so I had cut out a bird. Actually, the die cuts are partially cut out, but you do have to finish the cutout. So I lost my bird. Hopefully I'll locate him. So I'm gonna cut out this bird. Yeah, I think I want this one. And usually I just take my cutter bees and just finish the cutting. I added foam squares to the back of my bird and placed that on my card panel with my tweezers. I used the rule of 3 and placed 3 sparkling crystals from Studio Katia on my card to finish it off. So here's a closer look at my card today. I made a second card off camera with same pattern paper. I did not use splatters on this card at all, and popped my sentiment and butterfly and side line, if you will, up on foam tape, and then I used some Dries rhinestones in green to accent this card. So let me know in the comments which card you like best, the one with the gold and white splatters and muted colors, or the one without. Okay. All right. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Until next time, good day, friends.